Welcome to Soil Sage and Soul Siren with Maurice Small and Rebecca Reynolds. And I have Maurice here. Maurice, hello.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you today?
Well, it's a beautiful day. I'm looking out over the lake, which is somewhere between chartreuse and gray, and the sky is so beautiful. How about over there in Atlanta?
We're about 57, blue skies, wonderful sunshine, birds are singing. Beautiful day.
That's good to know. And so I'd like to start with you, Maurice, and how we met. And what's your take on that? How did we meet, Maurice?
I think we met at a brewery called Great Lakes Brewery in Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know what year it was, but they had a number of meetings there for environmentalists and those concerned about the ecosystem and sustainability. And I think we met at one of those meetings called E4S.
Right, exactly. And we couldn't miss you. I couldn't miss you because you were so shiny and bright, and you brought in the earth with you, just walking in the door. Yep.
Yeah.
Grateful for that day.
Your energy was equally expensive.
Well, thank you. I think we knew from the beginning we had a joint mission. And speaking of missions, I think that we both value the earth as part of our soul. Maybe you'd like to expand on your vision of that.
Well, the earth is everything. That's where we're at. That's where we're going to be. We're going to return to it in another form, and we're going to become it again. And it lives in us every day. And as long as we eat something and breathe something and drink something, that's earth. And ideally, we take care of it because it's who we are. And taking care of our body, our temples, and taking care of the earth, the house that we live in and live on top of and through, that's part of who we are. So it's a total fiber type of thing. It's who we are, down to the small blood vessels, down to the small air vessels, and oh, the feathers on the wings of a bird, the droplet with the crystallized antiquity of dinosaurs, all that stuff. That's part of the soul of who we are as people. Yeah. What do you think, Rebecca?
Well, my heart is spinning from what you've said because it's pure magic, Maurice, pure magic. And yes, we come to that place together, and looking out over these clouds and recognizing they have a voice and what they're trying to tell us, and the waves going by and just begging us to bear witness to their words, which are the frequency of what we're hoping to match is earth. If we could only gather our tendrils and put ourselves in alignment. So with that said, I think I want to know more about what allowed you to become not only the farmer, but the soil expert you are. And if you could go a little bit into that, we want the world to know just how vast your information is.
Well, thanks for asking. And I'm just a simple guy that hangs around with the worms, and the the worms tell stories, and the worms do little dances, and the worms are just happy. And hopefully that we'll be able to put a few videos and images of the worms on our website, and people can tune in to the website and see the videos and images of the worms and how important worms are. So studying the soil and studying where food comes from and studying food and then studying myself, all those little differences led to right now, this moment. And being able to feed my family was the first thing. My dad fed us when we were kids, and my dad was able to share a lot of his garden with the neighbors and people that didn't just live, where we lived, beyond. He would take plants and roses and food to other people in other parts of Cleveland. And it was wonderful. So that's what I saw as a kid. And when my oldest son was born, I needed to do the same thing for him. So we tried to grow food, but we couldn't. So we didn't know how. We didn't know how to grow food. So
Mm.
we kept trying and trying, and things kept dying and dying, but we didn't give up. And one of my neighbors told me about saving the leaves from the trees. And Cleveland is full of trees everywhere, and there's leaves everywhere in the autumn. And putting those leaves down on the soil over the winter really made a big difference in the production of the life in the soil. And something as simple as a leaf, a leaf, Rebecca, made the
Mhm.
difference in the soil. And the following year, we were able to grow a bounty of tomatoes. And we were able to eat tomatoes and cucumbers and pumpkins and, just a bunch of things that you can grow in Cleveland, Ohio in the winter and the autumn. And that's how it all began. That led to further study of how does this leaf interact with what I saw in the soil? And that was the little pill bugs, the little roly-polies, the centipedes, the
Mm.
millipedes, and the bees that were hanging around, and of course the worms. So all these ecosystems began to make themselves known to me. I knew they were there because I learned about them in elementary school and high school, but until you experience it one on one and you live with the bees and the worms and the pill bugs and the sun and the rain and the cold and the crazy neighbors that throw cigarette butts in your lot, all these things are a part of it. And that's what brought me to this point right now, talking to you about life, adventure, soil, and being able to help others vibe with that spirit.
Wow. Wow. I mean, one neighbor changed your life. Well, your dad started it, and then so on and so on. And I know now that people come to you to teach them how to replenish the soil, and their minds are put in order because of how you connect that. And if you, I know, um, I know there's a long story to that. Can you tell us a little bit about when people come to you, um, or when you go to them? Because I know you speak all over the world on soil, um, and worms. Can you give us a little nugget of that just for today?
Well, the I just got an email about 2 hours ago from a guy from California, and he's doing a Netflix documentary. And his email opened up something like, "Hi, I found you on the internet, and I'm doing a docu-series on people that help people get back into the earth and back into farming, and especially young people. I was wondering if I could help you out." End quote. So I didn't respond yet, but that's what happens. It's the power of word of mouth. And before we had the internet, we had, carrier pigeons. And before we had carrier pigeons, we had drums. And we still have drums, and we still have rhythm. We still have, ways in which we can send signals. And people somehow find me via these signals. And it's not every random person finding, it's specific people that have a specific mission, that are on a specific goal to get something specific done. So I'm not just getting random people, I'm getting people that are really about, okay, this is going to tie in what I'm working on. This is going to make everything become chapter 14, the end. So I'm blessed to be able to interact with people from all over the world and interact with creatures from all over the world, because these people are part of nature, and the creatures that we work with are part of nature. So looking at the birds that are having their babies right now, and looking at the people that are having their ideas come to life right now, there's no difference. And I just respond like I do to the birds. "Hi, good morning. How are you? Good to see you. Good to hear you. Oh, it's nighttime, isn't it? You're quiet now. Hi, crickets. How are you?" And it goes, it's one continual cycle, from birds to crickets all day, all day. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. How about you, Rebecca?
Well,
What
that's
is your calling?
delirious. Oh, my calling is first of all, I love your frequency matching. The people are energetically finding their way to you, and that is the most beautiful expression we can do, that, and be aware of, is our awareness that we desire our frequency to be so powerfully loving that we are attracting love, and those who want to heal the earth and want to heal themselves and understand the synchronicity of nature and humanity can be restorative, not
Hmm.
depleting, like we've lived in humanity. So well, you know that at the time you and I met, I had created Green Clean, the first organic cleaning company that was socially conscious, and also manufactured its own safe cleaning products. So we were actually the first in the country to do all that. And then I opened up Planet Green, the organic lifestyle store that was about showcasing the integrity of those manufacturing and restoring the Cleveland, Ohio area through their products and gifts and services. And we would tell their story, and it was just so beautiful to have people, fall in love with locally made, healthy and sustainable goods. And then beyond that, I went to nutrition school in New York, and then positive psychology school in New York to understand the brain and understand how to heal people. Because I think you and I both realize that healthy, healed people treat the earth with grace
Hmm.
and appreciation. And so you know, you and I have been doing cartwheels on this subject for a long time. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see how beautiful it is? Don't you want to keep it beautiful? Don't you want to restore it? So, I work in all schools here in the Cleveland area, inner city to public and private, as a mindfulness and a resiliency educator. And I do that through nature, wonder, and movement, and knowing that the soul of a child is engaged that way. We all are. And I have a private practice as well, and I speak like you on various different topics, from sustainability to sustainable living, which includes being healthy. And that looks different for everybody. So you and I met in that large group of people. It was like sonar. I'm like, I need to know you, Maurice Small. You are the soil sage. And so, yeah, I'm grateful for that introduction and that whole organization that brought us to this awareness with so many like-minded people.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, so that's where we come together here, and in many different ways. So yes, I'm so happy to talk to you on this, our first podcast, and we're going to keep this soil sage and soul siren talking about all kinds of things, from you name it. What do you think, Maurice? Race, justice, food. Yeah.
I think it all comes back to a few simple things, and food is at the crux of race, and food is at the crux of cost of living, and food is at the crux of you know people getting fired and hired, and food is
Hmm.
everything. And no matter the economy in any part of the world, every economist, every farmer, every daycare person, every soldier, everyone has to eat something every day. So we can frame a lot of conversations around food, because no matter what, Warren Buffett eats every day, Jay-Z eats every day,
Right.
Bay eats every day, Oprah Winfrey eats every day, Will Smith and Chris Rock eat every day. So, all the behind the scenes camera people at the White House filming the latest update eat every day. So if we can talk about food as it frames war, if we could talk about food as it frames environmental justice, if we can talk about food as it relates to clean water, if we can talk about food as it relates to fair and equal education, if we can talk about food as far as, what was the Civil War about, if we can talk about food as far as, what this current thing is about in Palestine and what this current thing is about in Ukraine, It all
Mm-hmm.
comes down to, who are we starving so they can move or die? And who are we
Right.
grabbing their land from so we can plant more wheat and control all the freaking resources in the world? It all comes down to food.
Amen, brother. That was powerful. And hopefully um people will attach themselves to that understanding that, food is a birthright, healthcare
Hmm.
is a birthright,
Hmm.
fresh water is a birthright. These these things that are all on Maslow's hierarchy are our needs, and therefore don't get me started.
Go,
No, you
no,
get me
go, go,
started.
go, go.
I have a real problem when I walk into a school and there's no fresh water coming out of the fountains.
Hmm.
Or there's
Hmm.
one fountain for 400 students.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we've got a lot we're going to be sharing with Soil Sage and Soul Siren, and we hope you will all come back and visit us regularly. And Maurice, I cannot thank you enough for sharing this space with me and your wisdom today and always.
Rebecca, it's been wonderful. And I'm looking forward to our next conversation so that we can open up the floodgates and let that positivity and love flow through.
Indeed, Maurice, indeed. Have a good day, everyone. We'll be back soon.
Take care. Bye bye, y'all.